I'm in Walmart and I'm checking something on my phone. And next to me, there's a bench with a couple of boys. They're like 11 or 12, and they're waiting for their mom, and they're showing each other TikTok and YouTube videos. And one of them says, "Oh, hey, I got one for you." And he goes to stream it. It begins to buffer, and he says, "Oh, what a bunch of crap." And I look down at him. I'm like, "It's a miracle that those things actually work." And he looks up at me and kind of rolls his eyes, and I could see in his face, "What do you know, old man?" Well, I could tell him about Andrew Viterbi or Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce, or these things here, triodes, and how Lee DeForest's invention changed the world, or Kernighan and Ritchie and the book that they wrote in the 70s and how this actually impacts what's going on a cell phone, or Hedy Lamarr, or the Blue Box with Steve and Steve. Who are those guys, and who is Linus? And what is the ARPANET or Tim Berners-Lee? Or I could go back further and talk about Volta, Maxwell's equations, or Marconi, and the Voyager spacecraft. Or this guy named Asalka. What does he have to do with the storage in a cell phone? And how did Richard Stevens' book get into Wayne's World? In 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone, and later that year, Android was announced by Google. And in 2008, the very first Android device was available in the United States for purchase, and it was from T-Mobile, and it was called a G1. Here's a photograph of it here. Well, wait a minute. I don't need to show you a photograph of it. I can show you the one that I purchased in 2008 at a mall in Atlanta, Georgia. This is my T1 device, or my T-Mobile G1 device. Now, can I tell those boys about what's in this thing? Oh yeah. How do I know that? This came out in 2008. In 2002, this book called Embedded Linux came out. How do I know it was 2002? Because this is the book that I wrote in 2001. So did I have anything to do directly with Android? No. But I guarantee you all the hardware designers at Google had my book. And everything that's kind of transpired in the embedded Linux space since then started, really, people learned about what it is because of my book. Now, what's my involvement in technology? If I look back at my life when I was 11 or 12, I delivered newspapers, and I took my newspaper money and I bought this radio in 1974. This is a Panasonic AM radio. I got this for $16 at Metzger's department store in Los Alamos, New Mexico. How do I know it was 16? Because if I had $20 then, I would have bought the AM/FM version. Now, when I look back at the 46 years since I purchased that radio, what's happened in technology is it's really difficult to explain. But I was there, and I actually followed this technology all the way up to today. I'm as excited about technology today as I was when I bought my first AM radio 46 years ago. And so I'm going to come up with a series called Tech Talk with Grandpa. And in this series, I'm going to talk about a story from my past, and that could be my work with the petroleum industry and chemical additive injection systems, or my work with wireless technology in hazardous areas, or working on digital dictation systems in the early days, or working for Long Island Railroad, or working at the National Ignition Facility in Livermore, California, or my work with the nation's largest same-day delivery service in the United States, or work on amusement park rides, or my work in solar. And then I want to couple that kind of with a story that I'm working on now. I work currently as a embedded hardware designer, and I'm working for some cryogenic companies here in the United States. I'm developing products for the semiconductor industry. So I'm going to tie all this together, and I'm going to do these Tech Talk with Grandpa. It's going to be live streamed on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And now, why am I doing this? It turns out a lot of us old guys have a lot of really good experience and stories up here in our heads, and I want to capture mine, particularly for my granddaughter, to come out, and maybe later she'll watch these things and say, "Wow, the guy I used to play with when I was a little girl, he really did do a lot in his life." So if you're interested in watching Tech Talk with Grandpa, go ahead and tune in on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Okay, I'll see you on Tuesday.